welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be checking out the Hubsan Zino Pro. This is the Fly More combo, which does send the price up, but you can select the standard edition, making it an affordable entry-level GPS camera drone. With the Fly More combo, everything comes packed into this carry pouch, which has two pockets on the sides as well as a zipped pocket at the front. You get given two spare sets of props as well as a mini screwdriver and some spare screws, so I'll be keeping those in the pockets. Unfortunately, the props don't have a clip-on, clip-off style system, so that's what the screws are for. There is a benefit to this because if you only damage one blade, then you only have to replace one blade. But the downside is that it's going to take longer to replace the props. Then of course we have the drone, which has these temporary cardboard prop holders to stop them moving about in transit, but you can't really reuse them. And I've been saying this for a while now, but no one seems to be listening. How difficult would it be to have a system where the props clip into something when the model is folded down, rather than them flopping about and potentially getting damaged? It's obviously pretty difficult given that it's not a standard on every folding quadcopter, but something like a bent prop could be the difference between getting great footage and wobbly footage. Anyways, I'll talk more about the drone later, because then we have a quick start guide in a few different languages and some random foam pads. There's this velcroed flap, and if I lift it up, we have the two spare batteries with the third one already placed in the quadcopter, but I think you can choose how many batteries you want to buy. Then there's the charger along with its power supply and balance lead. You get given three different USB leads to connect the transmitter to your phone, which are USB-C, USB micro and iOS. Then you're given a general purpose USB micro lead, which can be used to charge the transmitter, but it's also a data cable for the updates and things like that. You're also given this car charger, which is a pretty cool idea, although I'd be careful that you don't flatten your car's battery. So it's probably best to use the car charger while you're driving. Now, what's interesting is the Pro version is only 79 GBP or $100 more than its predecessor, the Zino S, which I reviewed on the channel about 11 months ago. And for the moment, you can still buy the Zino S with this Fly More combo package as well. Now, when I heard they were coming out with a Pro version, I was excited because the Zino S was okay, but it was lacking the technology compared to its competitors. And for me, the FPV X8 SE came along and made the Zino obsolete, because the biggest issue with the Zino is that it relied purely on GPS for its position hold, whereas the FPV has an optical flow sensor and sonar to give better position hold. So I never really felt like I could trust the Zino S. Its position hold was more like an old school loiter mode, and if you flew it in a strong wind it will get blown off course. So I was really surprised that the Pro version still doesn't have any additional sensors and still relies purely on GPS for its position hold. I was at least expecting optical flow and sonar sensors and maybe even some object avoidance sensors, but it doesn't have any of that. So what makes it Pro? Well, the control range has been increased from 1 kilometer to 4 kilometers, and when I test these camera drones, the one comment that always comes up is, "Where's the range test, bro?" And my answer to that will never change. Pretty much the entire world is suffering the implementation of the strictest laws RC models have ever seen, not just drones either. Depending on your location, they are more strict than full-scale ultralight aircraft and even guns in some countries. So if you want to keep on flying them, stay in close, especially with a model like this that doesn't have the extra sensors to cope with a loss of GPS satellites or object avoidance. Otherwise, it's just gonna either fly away or hit into something when it tries to return home. So what else do you get for your $100? Well, it's not clear if the camera sensor has changed. The Zino S is listed as having an Umbrella A12 and the Pro is listed as having an Umbrella A12S. However, there's a lot of variants of the A12 chip, so it could be the same. There's also no mention whether the field of view has changed either. So the only thing I can say for sure is that they have added the option for you to purchase and change the lens filters, such as an ND filter, and that would clip onto the front of the camera. They say they have also improved the gimbals on the controller. However, they still feel like cheap toy-grade pots to me rather than proper hobby-grade gimbals. The only difference I can feel is that the sticks have a square stopping point at the edge of their range rather than the circular motion of the previous transmitter that came with the Zino S. Other than that, everything else is the same, even down to the batteries, which is kind of a good thing because the batteries are cheap when you compare them to the competition. And even though the batteries are proprietary and take 180 minutes to charge, as they're using a balance charger, you could make up a cable like this one to charge them off a hobby grade charger. But that could shorten the lifespan of the batteries with them being charged at a higher current. I'm not going to run through the app or dive into the finer details because not much has changed since my review of the Zino S. So I'll add a card to the top right of this video if you want to know more information. However, I do know that Hubsan have been updating the firmware of the Zino S to make it fly better, even though I hear it's pretty difficult to do all of the updates. And as I understand it, those updates have all been applied to this Pro model. So let's go and see how this one performs. Okay, I have calibrated the compass and done all of the setup, which includes binding the aircraft. Nothing has changed there. So I'm going to do a takeoff. I'm just going to go up on the throttle. This is probably the best day that I'm going to get to see if this thing flies okay. It's currently about 7 degrees Celsius with the sun coming in and out with a wind of 7 to 10 miles per hour. I am shielded by these trees, so it doesn't seem it at the moment. So it took off from the landing pad, and I do expect it to drift around. Looks pretty solid there. Now the sun is in at the moment, so the picture is looking pretty dark. Let's just yaw it around, see what everything looks like. Oh, the sun's about to come out. Good timing. It won't come out for long though. So let's get some height on. I'm going to keep it line of sight just to make sure that it doesn't drift around. I'm going to push it forward a little bit as well. Let's bring the gimbal down slightly. Just to move it off to the side. You can still see the model. Doesn't seem to be moving around much at all, although I can see it slightly yawing. The sticks, again, I'm not seeing much benefit from these Xbox style pots. Got 15 GPS satellites. See if we can get any further height on. So the limit is 400 feet. So we're getting close to that. I'll just keep under it. Can I still see the model? Yes, I can. And it's seems to be keeping its position. Famous last words, eh? "400 feet. Bring it down. And I can see the model fine. So what happens if I yaw around? Let's look at the horizon. Seems to be keeping the horizon nice. The horizon does drift around here. See the clouds there, and bring the gimbal down to loop straight down. Definitely seems like they have improved how this model flies for sure. So I want to see if I can get some similar shots to the Zino S and see if they have actually improved the camera. Just look at the underneath of those clouds there. Really contrasty day. Yeah, I've got it line of sight, no problem though. The yaw does seem to be drifting slightly. If I just leave it, no real way to trim that. I guess that is just this toy grade pot here and just a slight bit of movement, and it sort of makes quite a big movement. FPV feed on the phone a little bit jittery, and again you can see if I just sort of knock the yaw, it starts to go one way and then the other way. Could be the wind, or it could just be these pots here. Yeah, I never feel quite comfortable flying this guy that high up. So let's bring it down. I'm actually in sport mode here. That's just to combat any wind that might be up there that I can't feel down here. So with the Zino S, on my initial review, I didn't dare to take it up so high, but then I had another day where it was calmer, but it wasn't in this location. So let's just bring the gimbal down here. And I think it was about that shot. Something like that. It's gonna be hard to completely match it. Pretty much exact same time of year. Yeah, the dynamic range not too great, but these aren't the best conditions. As I say, the sun is coming in and out all of the time. When I point the gimbal to the sky, then the ground is looking very dark on the phone, and then when I get the sky out of the shot, it brightens up. And that is with the sun in. So I think my advice with this model is just always fly it on a calm day. There is a limited angle on these things anyways. So if it is too windy and the model can't combat against the wind with its limited angle, then it will get pushed around. But here it's absolutely rock steady. So let's get a shot of the trees. It's a shame the sun isn't out. It's out on the horizon. But that's hands off there, and I am getting some drift. Let's move it around that way. Ah, it's typical, isn't it? Okay, sun comes out. I'm pretty sure I got a shot something like this. Oh, it's so difficult on the yaw. Yeah, this toy controller needs to be better, but I suppose you do have to take the price into consideration. Well, the sun's out over there, or it was, and it's not over here. Now, it looks like the horizon has dipped there, but that's just the contours of the land here. Well, we've got the sun out now, so let's point it at the estate, because I know I got a very similar shot with the Zino S, and perhaps at least we can compare the camera. So I've switched to a different battery because there is this new feature called Search Parking Apron Beta, and even though this model doesn't have any object avoidance or any optical flow cameras or anything like that, supposedly it can use its onboard camera to do a precision landing like DJI. Wow, it is getting so dark here, difficult to see. Those back trees there, about 120 meters away from where I'm standing, so I'm going to start it off in sport mode, and you actually have to stop the video recording, so I'm purely going to be relying on the recording through the phone. So I'm going to press return to home, so long press that button and it should lift up. The ground is looking very dark, not a lot I can do about that, I'm afraid. So I've got no control of the aircraft. I can move the gimbal down slightly. So the model is over my head. And the gimbal should point down and find the landing pad. There it is. I'm gonna get out of its way. But it's just overcorrecting itself, I think. Yeah, I haven't seen this working yet. Yeah, it's lost it, so I think it's just going to stay there. Let's take it out of return to home mode. Actually, it took itself out of return to home mode, which is interesting. Wonder if I take it out of sport mode, try again. I'm yet to see this work successfully. But you know, they have made quite a lot of changes, Hubsan. Well, yeah, there's a little bit of a delay of the control there, so normal mode now. So I'm going to try again. A long press of the return to home. Up it goes. And I'm just going to let it do its thing this time. It does say it's in a beta phase. Oh, look how dark that picture is. It comes back really fast. So yeah, it's overshot again, I think. Come on, gimbal down. It's coming down really quickly. Searching for drone apron. See, it really should get it in the center, and it's just moving around too much, I think. See, it doesn't have those sensors, and I don't think it can react quick enough. I think it's gonna lose it. Can I? No. Okay, what's it gonna do? It just goes out of return to home mode. That's interesting. There's quite a delay in the control there. And okay, if I press start, that's weird, because that was so strange, because the controls switched to mode 2. I was like, what is going on? It's just, is it just trying to land? It's hard to tell. Yeah, it says it's returning to home or landing. So what do I have to do to cancel out that? Is that just press that? Cancel return, yes. The thing is, you have to do this all very quickly. So yeah, don't think that is working. So this is the active track, which I remember really liking on the Zino S. Much better than the GPS track. Keeps me in shot. Obviously, if you start running, it's not going to be able to keep up. So if I press stop. What about orbit mode? So it says here, how to control the aircraft flight path. Use the joysticks at any time to set the orbit height and flight direction. Throttle up, throttle down. Okay, understood. Set the transmitter as the point of interest. Set the aircraft's current location as the point of interest. Well, I kind of want the transmitter so it orbits me. So I've got different options there. So if I press next, so execute immediately. I remember saying that on the original one, but there you go. So you can change the orbit speed. Let's see how fast it goes. Let's see if it keeps me in shot as well. Kind of got me off to the side there. Just swing it the other way around. It's still not bad. I've seen much worse. It looks like it is going to rain really badly soon. Hover above the desired point of interest. Confirm to set the aircraft's current point of interest. So if I hover over myself, and then move the gimbal down. Okay. And set the aircraft's location as a point of interest. So next, current radius. So what does that mean now? I have to move it backwards. from where I was. And then probably have to lift the gimbal up myself, do I? Execute immediately. And there it goes. Let's speed it up. Let's move it back a little bit, maybe. And so it's push the stick forward to move it back. Lift the gimbal up a little bit. Oh, see, overcorrected with the gimbal. Slight delay with the gimbal for sure. Hide. So that looks pretty good actually. So we've got a couple of different orbit options. I wonder if you put it in sport mode, it'd go any faster? I don't think so. That's pretty cool. If I press that button, I can have it going the other way. Or I can pause it. Yeah, that's pretty cool, that. I like that. And with these pots being sort of clunky, you actually get a smooth orbit, which you probably couldn't do if you were using the controller, because you could not get that angle on it. Alright, here it comes. Let's spot the landing pad. Is it gonna do it? It's correcting for itself. And the problem is the camera's field of view is not big enough to keep it in shot, and it just sort of moves around and gets lost. Yeah, it's lost it there. So stop that. Well, I think I'm just going to stop it and land it myself on the pad. So there you go, that is my review of the Hubsan Zino Pro. I'm not too sure whether there are enough changes for myself for it to be a benefit over the Zino S. If you want that extra control range for 4 kilometers, I don't think that's great for the hobby, but if it's good for you, then, you know, it is nicely priced. But there are a lot of other models out there that have got the sensors on there that can give you that extra confidence, especially if you are flying for longer distances. So I will leave it there. I'll put a link in the description if you wish to get one, and as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.